So where is this thing gonna go?
Right here.
Oh, okay. Not too bad.
eBay, 50 bucks. Budget. So today we're gonna put a cold air intake. First things first, we gotta take the bumper off. Once I take the bumper off, then we'll be able to start taking off the stock intake. Alright, so we just took off this plastic panel. The way you take it off, it's got, you can see here, it's got one little plastic rivet. It pops out. You just gotta get a flathead screwdriver. It'll pop right up. And then you have another plastic rivet here, another one here, another one here, and that plastic lid comes right off. Okay, the next step to get this bumper off, you got a bolt right here, because you're gonna want to take this off, this Honda sign thing here. You got this, it's an Allen key hole. You got one here, and then you got one here, and then this should come off easily. So I'm gonna take this off, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so I just took these screws off to get this off, but I noticed that it's, on my car, this is a 2006, it's attached. I don't know if you guys can see. There's some screws in there. So you can take it off if you want, but I'm just going to leave it on because it's attached to the bumper. I'm taking the bumper off. So the next thing we got to do is we got to get up underneath. And there's 4 10mm bolts that I got to undo. You can see them right away. Once I get under there, I'll show you guys where it's at. Alright, we just took the bumper off. It wasn't too bad, it took me about 15 minutes. So one thing I didn't notice is there's a Phillips screw here that you got to take off, and then there's one just like it on the other side. I didn't even have to turn my wheel or anything, pretty easy. And then you got those bolts underneath that I just took off, and you're gonna have to pull it a little bit right here. It'll just kind of snap off on both sides, and pretty easy. Took the bumper right off. Alright, so the next step is we gotta take out the stock, I think it's the resonator right there, and then we're gonna start on taking off the stock intake. Alright, so the next thing we just did, or the next step is you gotta take your battery off. So I took both cables off, and then there's this funky little thing here that holds the battery in place. That comes right off. And the next step is we got to take off this plate, the actual, that, well no, the next step is these 2 screws right here, right there, and take those off so that way we can get to this. And then this screw, that screw right there, that one, this one comes off because we got to take this sucker out right here. And then we're going to start working on this next. Alright, so we're getting ready to take this off. So I was telling you guys that there's that screw there, and now back in here, see there's another screw there that we got to take off in order to get this sucker off. Alright, so we got this off, the resonator box. After we get them screws out, it comes right out. Not too hard. So we started already taking off the stock intake. That's pretty easy. You got your sensor right here. That snaps right off, and then this comes off. Take your filter out. So the next thing we got to do, we're going to start taking this bolt off, and then we're going to start messing with these hoses right here. The aftermarket intake comes with a couple of hoses that you can replace them with. This doesn't look too hard, but I'll show you guys once we get this knocked out. Alright, so okay, we just got the where's it at? Oh yeah, look, he's holding it. We took that sucker off. That was kind of hard to get off. There's if you notice right here, there's a little rubber, there's like a washer, rubber washer that goes here, but there's no screw that takes it off, so you gotta pull that sucker off. And if you grab it from this side and lift up, it pops off rather easy. You know, you take these hoses off and loosen this screw, and then it comes right out. The next step is, I don't know if you guys can see, there's a screw, that screw right there. We'll take off this is like plastic. We still got to get this part off, so that way we can get the rest of the aftermarket intake in there. And then we're going to start messing with these hoses, because this piece right here is going to have to come off. So I'll show you guys once we get that knocked out. Alright, so I just took off the that plastic elbow that goes attached to the throttle body. That was pretty easy. There's just a Phillips screw, you loosen it. There's a bunch of tubes that are attached to it that just pop right off. The next step is going to be, actually, we're going to start putting that aftermarket intake. So the instructions for the aftermarket intake says to take this metal piece off. Now, this hose right here that goes, I don't know if you guys can see, it goes and goes and goes, and then it attaches to this part right here. Well, there's coolant, or radiator coolant that goes through that. And if it tells you to take it off and put your finger on it so that way none splashes out. And I was thinking about it, I was like, well, why the hell should I take it off when I can, you know, you can just leave this there and then run a hose from here to here. And this, you know, you take this off and you can just kind of maybe get some plastic ties and tie it, and it'll sit there nice. And you can avoid having to go buy another hose that goes from here to here, and just leave this the way it is. That's what I'm going to go ahead and do. But I'm going to start putting the aftermarket intake on. So I thought I could get away with leaving this thing on, this little metal dill here, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to, because I'm trying to get this the aftermarket intake to fit, and as you can see, it's just, you know, it's rubbing up against there. So I'm gonna have to go get another hose and replace that sucker. Alright, so we just put the aftermarket that little plastic dill that attaches to the intake. Went and got a hose. Sure enough, as soon as I popped off the stock hose, antifreeze fluid started splashing out. So just put your finger on it right away. It's not like a bunch comes out. It's not under pressure or anything. And then it attaches to this one right here. And then we just attach that. So the next step is going to be to put this on here. All right, we got this installed. Pretty easy, you know. Tighten up those screws back there. And then this comes with that little rubber washer. You just screw that on, tighten it up. So the next step is to get the other half, that piece there, get that up in there. It says on the instructions that you gotta cut like a 2 to 3 inch hole right here to get it to go through. I'm gonna see if I can get away with it. To me, that doesn't make sense, because when it's raining, you're gonna get all kinds of water, mud, and junk in here, and that's the last thing you want, is to get water, you know, in your intake and jack up your engine. So I'll see if I can get away with it. If not, I'm gonna have to. Alright, so I was able to get that through without having to cut. You can see, can't really see all that good. I didn't have to cut through. The only sucky thing is, you know, when you're trying to get it through there, it's a tight fit, and I don't know if you can tell. You know, you'll scratch up your intake a little bit, but you know, I mean, nobody's gonna see that part. And to be honest, I'd rather scratch up my intake a little bit than I have to cut a hole in this mud flap thing here and risk getting all kinds of water and mud. One thing I noticed is it it's not, there's like not much pressure up against this metal part, but it was rubbing just a little bit, and I thought to myself, well, over time it may start cutting through. So what I did is I got a little rubber piece here, and I was able to let it, I got it in there so it sits on it nice and snug, and I think we'll be good there. But I'm pretty glad that I didn't have to cut anything here. So next step, put the filter on, and then I got the air sensor already put on, and we'll be able to start this sucker up here soon. Alright, so we're done. Got the battery connected. That's pretty easy, that's not too bad. Got the sensor plugged in. As you can take off, it has a stock plastic deal on the wiring, but I just left it on and went underneath. You can take it off, whatever works for you. That's all put together down there. So go for it, dude. Go ahead and rev it. We'll see how it sounds. Oh yeah, big difference. You can tell a big difference with this aftermarket intake. So that's pretty much it. I got to put the bumper back on, take it for a spin. Leave any comments. Let me know what you think of the video.